But the reality is, I'm a wolf, baby. I'm ready to eat her.
Hello and good evening for this Wednesday, October the 22nd, 2025. We have just finished watching the 5th episode of Survivor 49 titled, I'm a Wolf Baby. I'm going to eat her. Well, I'm adding the I'm going to eat her, but we're just getting started here at Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. I'm Dave Mater, coming to you live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or you might be listening to us on audio version. Got a great panel here with us once again tonight to talk all about this episode. Spoilers, of course, if you have not seen this episode so far. We're mid-season here, and there's lots to break down. Let's get into it. If you can't tell, I'm stalling a little bit. Okay, well. We got a great panel here. Let's bring him in first. He's a pop culture aficionado with Funkos stacked to the ceiling and hot takes ready for the spotlight. If the edit's misleading and the gameplay's theatrical, he's already dissecting it. It's Jaemeel Robinson. Hey, Jaemeel.
This is a very terrible Jack Nicholson impersonation. So yes, you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Well, maybe joining Jaemeel tonight and the rest of us, whether it's Lego builds or tribal bonds, she's watching Survivor one brick and blind side at a time, new to the game, but catching on fast. It's Becky Robinson.
Hi. Good to be here.
Glad to have you with us. How are you tonight?
Good. Doing good.
Good. Back-to-back nights here for Becky and I as we were on the Star Trek podcast last night. Yep. Of course, back with us again here. He's the host of Hey, Did You See This One? I think now hitting their another milestone. We get your 200th episode and your was it 5 years now? Is that
five time?
He's got the critic's eye for tribal theatrics and a director's sense of pacing. If the episode's called I'm a Wolf Baby, he's already reviewed the whole cast like it's the award season. It's Jason R. Phillips.
It's me. I've reviewed all of the cast like it's award season.
Well, that one needs some work. We'll send that back. We're back to the writer. But also with us here tonight, he's here for the competitions, the chaos, and the clutch performances. If it's a challenge, he's already ranking it. If it's a flop, he's calling it out. That sounds better. It's Josh Foster.
It's the Amish Samurai.
Yeah, also known as the Amish Samurai, as was coined by a live comment last week. And I that is maybe going to stick. We'll see. Foster, how are you?
Yeah, well, I'm tired. I'll be honest, but I've got my emotional support dog came over to know because she knows something's wrong, and it's this season, Dave. We're going to get into it, but oh my goodness, what is going on? What has happened at the game that I love?
Were you not feeling it tonight then, Foster? That might be...
Oh, Dave, how much time do we got? Oh my goodness.
Well, I promised Jaemeel a quicker a show tonight, so just wanted to put that
Jaemeel, you're going to be in for a long time. I got my emotional support dog. I know you're not the type to just leave, so we're going to lock in for a 3 to 4 hour session right now. No, I'm kidding.
What is this? Hey, did you see this one?
Yeah, where we talk about a 2-hour movie for 4 hours. Is that what we're up to? Is it like the For All Mankind podcast on Live Long and Podcast where we talk about an hour episode for almost 2 hours weekly? Could be. Anyway, Foster, I'm kind of with you too. I felt like this episode tonight was a little bit of a nothing burger episode. I was let down by it largely. I think that I was sold all this like this intrigue here with Sage and is it Shannon?
Janet,
who Jaemeel calls Janet, just to confuse me. And I'm a wolf baby. That's the name of the episode. I was sure that the blue group was going to tribal tonight. No, it's all a fugazi. It's all a fake. And here we are as the yellow tribe goes back. They just vote out Jason. And it's kind of like, okay, well, whatever. And they sell us this false bill of goods in the episode. Like, we got Shannon here. Oh, it's boring to go along tribal lines, and maybe we'll get out Jawan. Jawan is using my water bottle. We have to do something about this, but no one else cares. Everyone's like, no.
Shannon is the one who said that.
Savannah. I'm sorry, Savannah.
No,
Yes,
no.
not Shannon.
You know what? And I think Foster would agree with me. Man, if only they had like a strong person that's good with carrying stuff on their tribe, they could have won this challenge. But did they have one and got rid of that person? What?
What?
Is that was Will from
Somebody
last
who-
week?
A puzzle didn't come up and Jason was useless? What? Couldn't
Did they
see
get-
that happening.
Did they get rid of somebody that was playing the game?
Someone who is not even just playing the game, someone who is good at lifting items, right? Heavy items.
But they got rid of him because he was playing the game, Jaemeel.
Yes.
Too
He was
hard,
playing
apparently.
too hard.
Just like Shannon, aka Janet, was
See?
playing the game too hard.
Yes.
Like, what have we become? Like, what is like? Are you so so tired and so exhausted that you're just like, I'm just gonna ride numbers to the merge, ride numbers to the end? Like, what is going on here?
So Savannah's just trying to make it to the merge as she cackles with Innate.
Oh my, you're complaining about people who are playing the game too, or sorry, you're complaining about other people, right? It just personality wise, and you're targeting people that actually want to play the game. The reason you're all there.
Okay, Foster, thank you for bringing up that. Excellent point. Excellent
Whoa,
point.
whoa, wait a second. Jaemeel, are we on the same page tonight?
We're on the same page.
Is this like a Twilight Zone?
Maybe
right
at first.
now? Like,
Yes.
I don't.
Savannah
Is it
starts
because
talking.
is it what? Well, last thing I'll say before I know I'm cutting you off. But last thing I'll say is it because NBA season started last night, Jaemeel, and we're finally in sync.
Yes,
we're finally like
in sync. It's all that I ever wanted. It's all I ever needed.
Okay, like this has been quite the discourse here. But
okay, Savannah, for example, starts off this episode saying that they had to vote off the person from Hina because Hina was coming in and they're like, ho Hina, ho Hina.
Yeah.
They're the ones who started the war, so we're gonna continue the war and do the war. We're gonna take the shot. Then it bookends with her saying, well, we don't want to like start a war or anything like that, right?
The war's already started.
Yeah, they already took the first shot. It's like she reminds me of Kenzie, who I didn't like, even though she won. Didn't like her. # justice for Jen. Dave, continue.
Well, okay. A lot to unpack with all of that. I do want to segue over to Jason. Jason, I think it's been 2 weeks since we've had you here with us.
Yeah.
So we're kind of catching up on quite a bit of Survivor here with you. Not just this episode, but how do you feel the course of the game is going?
Last week was very tribe heavy. There was just a lot of talky, but I feel like there were a lot of moving pieces. This week was a little bit more concise. There was still a lot of tribal stuff, but I feel like the lines in the sand were drawn. So I feel like the season's coming along like pretty nicely. It's nice to see people actually playing the game, as you guys sort of mentioned, because the last couple seasons have been very kumbaya, as it's known colloquially in this group and online as well. Has your brother managed to make it onto a show?
No, he has not.
Wait. Are we even sure that Dave has a brother? Like, I don't even like for those people that are just watching this for the first season. Like, we got to use the term allegedly.
It's the Super Mario brother.
Well, I actually
right?
have two. I have two brothers.
First of all, I've known you for a long time, Dave, and I know there is an alleged third brother, but I just don't know. But now in this season of the channel, it's like now you have an alleged second. So you can't convince everyone you have a second brother when you can't even convince us right in this moment you have a second brother.
These are the things, the crosses you have to bear sometimes when you're your brother's keeper, I suppose.
So anyway, just to finish my thought, I feel like it's it's been said before, the game is afoot, and I really like that there was kind of in wrestling terms, a bit of a blow off in this episode with getting rid of Jason and Savannah nearly murdering Jawan And then also the return of chickens and the introduction of a brand new game I don't think we've ever seen before. So some good high points, not a whole lot of lowlights for this particular episode. But last week I found to be a struggle. Did you guys talk about it for like 3 hours? Because there was just so much talking, so much.
You mean in last week's episode specifically?
Yeah, yeah.
It was, well, that was the one with like, yeah, go pound rocks, bro, or whatever, and that that's the vote out of Matt. I think we liked that episode more last week, I felt, than we did about this one.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. It's I don't know. For me tonight, this episode was just kind of like, well, these players have got these dynamics, and we're going to really explore that and get to know all of that and the intrigue. And I guess we're building to something more entertaining, but that's kind of the anticipation that I'm struggling with these like hour and a half episodes, where I'm like, I just want to kind of get to the point, the climax of things, if that is the what we're
Dave, all this episode was build up to was the eventual Savannah Juwan kind of confrontation, and we don't even know how big that can be. But overall, this episode was wrapped up a half an hour early, and they just kind of just stretched on and was asking questions and showing extra scenes. We were done. I was done. I kind of checked out last half an hour, and I didn't miss anything.
That was like tribal council.
Yeah, you guys know how I feel about that too. Like I'm all for episodes still being an hour like they were in the old days, even the hour and a half. If there's nothing to show, you're right. But I found that last week it was more content heavy, like it was denser. But I couldn't since I wasn't podcasting after, I couldn't hone in on what was going on. Like I had a hard time following it. But tonight, where I was locked in, I really had a good time with it. But I do agree with Jaemeel. Like they did wrap it up. They did sort of, they kept inventing new conflicts in reality show way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Last week we were kind of reacting to the whole tribe swap itself.
Yeah,
and
and there was that as well. Yeah.
Who it ended up where, what that meant, who was going to stay with who was annoyed. There was a lot more to analyze. This was kind of like the sequel to that. And, it would have been, I think, more interesting to see the blue tribe go to tribal, which is what I was sold in the preview. And I was sold a false bill of goods, and so instead yellow goes back. It's another like original red versus original yellow sort of boring thing, and I guess you got these two blue players in Sophie and
Alex.
I always forget his name. Sophie and Alex, and what I guess he's with yellow and she's with red. And we're going to see what that means in the merge. But I'm like, can we just get to the merge is kind of how I'm feeling at this particular stage. And it seems like instead of them being a merge or them just doing another week, the previews seem to allude to the fact that they're going to, mix up the tribes again. Is that what?
Kind of feels like they might, yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Only 2 weeks in seems kind of like not great. I don't know. I guess they're really worried that they're going to lose again for a third straight week.
And that would make not good TV, I guess. But
unless they decide to put them all on the same beach, but just have them still compete.
One world. Callback.
Let's do it. Have the false merge where they're all together and they think that they're merging, and then Javon acts like an idiot, and then it's like, oh, we are not merged. And he's like, was it Fiji?
Yeah, let me ask you about Jawan, Jaemeel. I like this guy is pretty interesting, I think, as a Survivor player, as a TV character, as a man in general.
He doesn't know who Psyduck is. No.
Uncle Jeff?
He doesn't know who Psyduck is. I'm sorry. He was lost to me then.
His Pokemon knowledge is lacking.
What did he call him, Jaemeel, again? Like that was kind of, I was
like, because of his feet, I'm like, what?
Like he's a Gen 1 Pokemon. How do you not know if you're saying your favorite is
Psyduck? Like, how can you mess that up? You're talking about what, the crocodile? You talked about crocodile. Was it crocodile?
Mhm.
Like, bro, come on.
No, he said Totodile was his favorite.
It was Totodile. Sorry, Totodile.
Jason, are you
Like, that was- but-
fluent in this?
Yeah, I knew a little bit. I clued into them talking Pokemon. But is Psyduck not one of the ones that made it to, I think, Totodile's Gen 3? So
No,
did
Totodile's Gen 2. Totodile
Gen-
is Gen 2. Psyduck also is Bisty's Pokemon in the animated show from the very
Right.
first freaking season.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, it's just, again,
I didn't know
I
that.
think he was just
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. So
He's a psychic duck.
Psychic
duck.
Duck, Psyduck.
Or like maybe Juwan's probably pretty young.
Juwan's like 26, right, or something.
Yeah,
That's
He doesn't
no
have
excuse.
Gen 1 Pokemon?
but maybe he
That's
was
no
around for Gen
excuse.
2 release.
28. Juwan's 28.
Look,
That's
I
what
would
he's
love
young.
I would
That's
love to trade Pokemon cards with him if he's that kind of a sucker.
Yeah, give me your Psyduck from the original.
Just his
Original full
reaction
Psyduck.
tonight to though at tribal council. That like even this whole idea that he knows he's on the bottom of the old Uli, but he wants to stick with the old Uli. And he might have been he was like kind of an option to vote out, but they don't vote him out here because they kind of think he's loyal to them and he's a good
False
number for
narrative.
now.
It was
Savannah-
false.
They don't want to play.
Savannah has
They
every-
don't want to play.
Savannah has
Well,
every right to be that upset that he's taking all of her stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
she-
putting his dirty clothes in her bag and whatever
Yeah,
else
like-
he's doing.
So
She should
weird.
speak up, but and say something.
You know what I would say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would fart in his face.
that wasn't my like where I was
Beef stew?
expecting you to go, but
Beef
not
stew,
totally.
Jaemeel?
Oh my
Classic. Beef stew.
Beast.
god. Ew.
maybe I don't know. Where do we
Classic,
segue?
classic Halo teabag.
Foster, like this episode tonight, I'm watching it, and we didn't get to the tribal competition. I felt like for like an hour, right? Like we got this sandbag challenge in the episode.
I
Th-
was so
that-
underwhelmed.
Where we got Nate and MC taking these sandbags back and forth for hours. I guess we could talk a little bit about like how Nate and MC specifically ended up on this journey in the first place. But like watching people like haul sandbags isn't always that entertaining. Although, I think for MC in particular, we got a little bit more of her backstory and some of her, information on her, which I think that part was pretty good. We get a little bit more insight into who Nate is as a character and as a player. I don't know if I'm loving Nate, by the way, he's kind of a villain for me.
He's a smart, lazy person.
Smart, lazy person, but he's also got like this. He's kind of like a baby to me. This guy, like he's just like the way he reacts sometimes in the challenges and the way he faces adversity. He comes off a little whiny, I guess, is really been my little take on Nate so far.
Stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home dad, yeah, and MC. I think she's a little sharper. My colleague like, okay, but what do you do, like Nate? Because you clearly do something, or you did at some point.
See, he has to be careful because if he reveals his job, he might get voted out. He already did reveal his job and that he works as a movie producer and was part of Black Panther, but he's not rich.
Did he reveal this?
Management for a hedge
He
fund.
revealed it like the second episode, I think. Like it was pretty but it was like super casual.
Yeah.
But again though, like usually they were more threatened by
middle management financial dude
Jake,
Matt.
yeah, Matt.
yeah. Like I don't know what it is because
Works at an
maybe it's just the
airport.
it's
No,
the
he must
concept
be
of
rich.
like, well, it's just the general idea of like, okay, you're in a high managerial position or you're a lawyer or you're a doctor, that's a general concept of you're really smart, right? But if you're like producing films and stuff, like that's a very like I have no general sense of what goes into that, but like something like that, and just it would common sense be like, well, that's a very intricate, it's a different type of thought process and smart. No, but in terms of like the grand scheme of things, like again, like I don't understand why you put so much value into the occupation when
Unless
half the time it doesn't even matter.
unless he's like a criminal lawyer or something.
Criminal lawyer. Yeah.
Criminal lawyer would be a little bit more like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always
Because
put
they
lawyers
because
on
they
my
can make a
fantasy
speech at the
teams.
end.
Yeah.
Like, is that the idea?
Yeah.
Like this closing argument that's going to win over a jury, literally a jury.
And lawyers are good at like convincing people in Survivor. I always take them. I put them on my team, and they always get me points because they're always good at like swaying people to do things because they've got that ability, right? That's what they do for a living. And I also like entrepreneurs for that as well. Entrepreneurs. If Sophie with an I wasn't so run ragged, if she hadn't been to literally every, like, she's a great player. I can see I might switch if she goes home because she got dealt a bad deck.
in terms
And
of just food and
food and fire and shelter and all that, I might put her on like return to play status.
she literally has not had a flint for the entire game.
No,
She has not had fire at all.
she's had coconut for like a decade.
Like,
I'm
what
just
was
saying, if she made better choices, maybe she might have it already. She made a bad choice last week.
That's true.
Yeah, we're into day 10 now with this
Yeah.
Jason vote out, right? So it's
I think MC made a terrible decision at her
She did.
Did.
chance. How does she walk back and see that much sand in the thing and go, "Oh, I'm gonna believe what Nate's saying," and just
okay.
Anyway.
Can someone like I was trying to like understand the rules of like you have to go look for the idol and only one of them can get it, and they still have to deliver the sandbags and what the exact terms.
They had
This is why you need lawyers on Survivor just to figure out
Yeah.
these
I think it
rules.
was they had to before the timer ran out, they had to find the idol, and like the sandbag was the final, or they could just like they had something about the sandbag. They had to maneuver the sandbag, and once the sandbags are all in place, that would be the end of the challenge. But if
they didn't do it in time, they lose their votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if one of them went and found the idol, the other person had to do the remaining sandbags alone.
Yeah.
So technically, couldn't she just look for it at that
that's
point?
what I was saying.
Right.
And I
get
said
it.
to my wife, like, just have one left and go look for it till the time's about to run out. But Nate is like somehow a silver tongued devil in all of this and was like, no, it's almost out. Let's just finish it. You
Wait,
don't want to be over in
if
those
she went
places.
looking for it, and she didn't find it, and time almost ran out, doesn't Nate still have to finish it? And if Nate finishes it, then
Or did they have to do it together? Was that what it was?
It wasn't explained.
And also, I have another question. If she ended up not having 2 votes, what does that mean?
Yeah. She's like, I can't lose my vote. Well, I've actually already lost my vote because of
so why didn't she just sit down on the sand and let the time run out?
You can lose 2 votes. It's 2 consecutive votes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. With the sandbag challenge, if they didn't finish the sandbags, they would both lose their votes.
Yes, that was clear. Yeah.
Couldn't like if
Sorry.
MC went and was looking for it, and Nate's like, I don't want her to find it, and puts the final sandbag. Don't the challenge ends and both of them keep their vote?
That's what I'm saying. Sorry, Becky, I didn't mean to say it like that. That part was clear. It's the rest of it that was unclear, because I thought, for some reason, the way it was described, it's like if one person finishes the sandbags while somebody's looking, they also both lose their vote. There was some other rule that didn't make any sense.
But if you agree like we'll finish this together, because like Nate could have screwed her over technically, but he didn't want her to have the idol, but he didn't want to necessarily be that.
It wasn't an idol. It wasn't an idol though. It was an advantage.
It was just an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the clip, Dave?
Of that, no, I don't specifically.
Can you just play the whole episode back?
No, we don't have time for that. In the episode.
What do you mean? We're still within 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. like, okay, so this whole excursion to the thing. Now, I guess let's talk about MC a little bit specifically too. We get more of her story. She's got the muscles. She's been picked on in her life about this. She was but she's a warrior in this game, and I think the other alternate, along with Jason, who gets voted out in this episode, but I think MC, I think, is still. I don't know. I can see her definitely winning this season. I could definitely see that be this.
Hope so. It'll be great news for some people, right?
Right. Well, better for you than
MVP.
than the other alternate who Foster lost tonight in his draft team in Jason.
Meh.
But
Eh,
Meh.
eh.
yeah. No, don't worry. No one's too sad that Jason's gone. He was okay. I like Jason, but I think we were. I don't think we'll be okay. We'll be okay with Adam. But yeah, MC, she's okay. Yeah, Becky and Jameel's draft pick. She is working here also in this episode with Steven, as we knew, and she's not big on Shannon, right?
Yeah.
Even though we knew last week, we were talking about how MC seemed to be kind of into, like, along with Christina, into like the whole religious angle that Shannon was kind of leaning hard into in this new version of the Blue Tribe, right? But yeah,
I don't think MC likes people playing church, and I don't know if you know that term. That term,
playing church.
yes, playing church. That is a term used in circles, where
Okay.
where people like get on their high horse about like their religion, right?
Mhm.
Outside of church, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? Or in church, or like they talk about like being very studious and a good person, and then
Sanctimonious, maybe.
out on the streets they're getting buck wild and
Mhm.
going out and partying on Saturday night, that type
Yeah.
of thing. So
Just say your rosaries. That's how it goes.
playing church.
Yeah, playing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Well, so yeah, MC. Like, in terms of this challenge, they work together, but they're kind of against each other. Once she heard also from Nate that they had voted out Matt, she was like, "It is on. The war is on," and they were like, "Well, then we have to vote out Jason. There's no way he has to go in this episode." And I guess that's the story they told with the edit tonight. Just took a long time to get there. Because after the sandbag of it all, and we come back to the beaches, and it's a lot about Shannon and
Savannah. Savannah.
No, I meant Shannon.
Sorry, Shannon and Sage.
I did mean Shannon that time.
Okay,
Shannon and Sage.
Sage.
And everything going on with them, before the challenge, So the fact that Shannon and Sage, they both came from Uli, but they are not on the same page in this. But if I call her Janet, then we're like, who are we talking about? Are you able to track with this, Jason? That Shannon is
You're
Janet?
so close to me. You're so close
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
fine.
I can feel it.
Okay. All right.
It rhymes enough, and you've talked about it enough, and I'm just calling her Shannon in my head at this point.
All right. Fair
I
enough.
don't know. There's too many, like Shannon, Savannah, and
Sophie with an I.
Sophie and
Sophie with an
Sage.
E. Sage. That's a lot. I'm just taking one out of the equation, Dave. That's all. And she just gave me Janet vibes.
Sure. Okay. Janet vibes for Shannon.
Okay, so let's just say Shannon. It's fine. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Well, what do you make of their whole feud, everyone? Like, in terms of
It's
well,
my
I guess
favorite Survivor thing in a long time, because they're acting so fake to each other, and then they'll hug, and then the faces that Sage makes to the camera, just right to me, really, is chef's kiss.
Yes, Jim the camera. Thank you. Keep
Yeah.
Jim the camera.
she is very expressive.
Yeah.
Sage. She's kind of a unique.
She's so effing funny, dude.
Yeah, very funny. She likes to talk about pimples and pooping.
And pooping.
As you do, out there. But she's also not like, I guess if Uli gets back together here with Sage and Shannon, they're gonna be kind of confused about what the hell's going on with these two, because they probably left them in a better place than they thought. But maybe they never were close on their original tribe. Maybe that will be an interesting dynamic of the shakeup if we get that in the next episode. But yeah, this whole we get Alex and
he's not gonna lose until merge.
I don't know. I don't like. I think it would be interesting, like if you had Shannon and Sage, swap to the same tribe, and at least one other Uli member comes along. Like let's say it's Savannah or Nate, who are going to be all Uli strong.
Savannah, Sage, and Shannon.
I don't know. There's too many women with S names in this season. I'm telling you, it's throwing me off.
What the heck, Uncle Jeff? What's going on here?
Uncle Jeff. Yeah, I don't know.
Uncle Jeff. When I think of that, I think of like the way that he said that, Uncle Jeff. I'm like imagining Huey, Dewey, and Louie go, Uncle Scrooge.
Like I'm a little surprised. Like just on Jawan, like watching him tonight, Tribal Council. Like I was like, don't you have to like get through a certain part of casting process? Like Jawan wasn't the alternate. It felt like he was not prepared to be at a Tribal Council 10 days into this game. Like, it just was, he was so starstruck. He was so like in awe, I guess it happens, but it just, yeah. Well, anyway, if there's no takers for that one, we can, move on. Yeah. Okay. Well, there was, so everything going on with in that tribe with Sage and Shannon, we saw Steven and Alex come to Sage and say, hey, she's throwing your name out. She's playing too hard. We got to go after her. Whereas you had Christina, on the other hand, who was like all into Shannon in the episode. And Christina was saying, like, I really like her. She's so nice to me. We talk about God and all that. And maybe, she's more, into that maybe than MC is. Not bothered with the plain church. Maybe more eager to do so. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. That's why I wanted this tribe to go to Tribal Council, but we're robbed in this episode, and we get what we get.
Yeah.
Anyway, am I missing anything else before the challenge came up? I'm just trying to recall if we got anything from the other tribe. Like we saw the conflicts, I guess, between Jawan and Shannon and the water bottle of it all, and we kind of covered that. So,
why was Jason sleeping away from camp?
I have a theory about that, actually. I think that they sleep. Some people like to sleep in the open sand or in the sand because it's warmer. It retains heat better than probably
bamboo.
The wood. So I think he just went over and found a warm spot in the sand. Because remember that when the two were left over and they were just sleeping on the beach? And their boat like flew away.
Yeah,
and like they're having the worst.
Yeah, Kayla, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
because
the sand is
they have a shelter either.
Yeah, that's true. So I think the sand is just nice to sleep on. I'd be worried to sleep at the edge of the forest though, like with my head facing the forest, because any kind of creature could slither out onto your face. Maybe I'm never going to play Survivor.
Like I think that to me that would be like the hard. I'm not a big camper. I got to tell you, if I am, I have like a tent at least, or something like that. And you're basically like every season they have to make a new shelter, right? They had to tear down some bamboo here, and they raise that off the ground, so you're not in the mud or in the wet. I guess the idea is it keeps you dry. You can huddle together for warmth.
With somebody who camps every year, sometimes twice, that there looks like it would be cold to me at night, even though it's a shelter.
I guess but you have the other tribe mates you can kind of maybe use for warmth. I don't know, but how much cuddling happens in the Survivor shelters or whatnot.
We sometimes see it. We haven't. That's like old Survivor shots.
Yeah, you're right. Like
them sleeping.
They don't show that as much, and there used to be like, I don't know, all those seasons where like it would just rain on them constantly for like 3 days, and then they would just be frozen under their shelter, miserable. Now they give them tarps within like 2 or 3 days of being out there. But there was that. I have to pull it. I have to remember to pull it because tonight in the tribal. I can't remember who says it, but they're like, if you think that coming out here for the 28 days season, was it Jason?
Jason is responding to Jeff's comments about it.
Yeah, I have to pull that clip for my brother Jeff.
Yes.
Just to say, like, if you think this is easy, it's not. If you played 0 Days of Survivor, then shut up. You don't know how hard it is.
Well, after today, he's playing 0 Days of Survivor as well. So
true. He was, and then we'll get with Jason's in his exit there. He's just like, whatever, it's all gravy. I wasn't even supposed to be playing. So I was like, well, that's not really the point, Jason. Like you were playing, so that it's
was he, Dave? Was he?
Well, I think he made some mistakes when this tribe swap happened. I think some of the things he said, even if he doesn't have to believe everything he says. I think he could have given some reassurances. Like at least he was able to at least survive the first vote out. But
shade to Matt. Shade to Matt.
That's right. I'm throwing shade at Matt here. Matt's game was like, oh, maybe I need 1 beer and 100 burgers, or maybe it's 100 burgers and a beer. I don't know. It's still undecided.
They just see priorities. Okay.
Well, with the lack of energy that Jeff had coming into that game, me and my wife were joking that him and Matt probably went and hit the sticky icky.
They went hit the sticky.
I was up all night last night, man. Yeah, he looked wiped out in that challenge.
Jeff having the sticky icky, and he's like, Matt, come to my bunk because I have burgers, chips, salsa.
Yeah, he wasn't as
and beer.
100 beers. Or here's your question: is it 100 beers and a burger, or 100 burgers and 1 beer? It must
he
be
has
decided.
2 different doors, and it leads to.
Oh my god! It's true. Isn't as
This is the new game. This is the new Jeff Probst. We have to make it with Sora or something.
Didn't he throw in there at one point too that he's like, well, I have had all this sleep and I'm well fed. He's
like, he rubbed it in. He's like, I've been out here fine. I could, but it's harder for you. And it's after the challenge because
she was like gonna cry, and he's like.
He was like, yeah, I don't totally understand because I've never actually done this, but I've watched other people do it. And I think that's a good segue, everyone, because I think the challenge itself needs to be covered here. Foster, this was a pretty brutal challenge tonight physically, in particular with this bamboo cage structure they had to take through the water here. Because
it looked very physically exhausting. However, it was quite boring to watch. It was from their perspective, it's a hard one. You're right, Dave. But it just seems like it's moving the cage and shooting baskets.
Yeah, it was a grueling challenge, but it wasn't necessarily the most, because I don't think it was that entertaining to watch them take that thing through the water. You could see like how much they're stressing through, laboring to get through it. And you I guess the aftermath.
Well, the highlight of watching it was Jawan just going, he's getting all
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know if you've ever seen Blue Mountain State, where it's the first, I can't remember his name, but he takes the rabies shot and he just gets all hyped up.
Was it?
He just gets all What?
Not Chaz, right?
No. The running back, where he goes and he races the one. I don't know. He takes rabies shot. Anyways, he just gets all fierce and all just fired up and just basically just grunts through it or whatever, right? But anyways, that was, in terms of, once again, it's different because from their perspective, it's very challenging. And even Jeff made a comment about how hot it is there. So again, we can't, these are things we can't visually see.
We can't feel them, right? Yeah, because we can see it's sunny, but
it's obviously more intense, just in general for them as the player than it is for us watching, right? And that's the problem, is that we're watching it, we're reacting to it right now, and that we do every week. But what we're seeing is kind of, for this episode, as we focus on this one, the challenge, there visually wasn't a lot going on, right? And especially with the challenge, both challenges. Sorry, with the other one, like I don't, carrying the sandbag. It wasn't, for them it was grueling, but for us it was.
Just watching people sweat.
Yeah, like it was frustrating in a sense. And then again, as I said at the beginning of the episode, like the lack of gameplay. I don't understand why it's like taboo to talk game. Like and like Alex seems interested, and then it's like, oh, like she's talking this, and this, and it's like no one wants to like see it from Shan's perspective. You know what I mean? Or like, again, I'm not saying there's a difference between playing the game and playing a bad game, right? It's two different things, right? Shannon's playing the game, whether it's good or bad.
She's being accused of playing too hard, specifically.
Well, because nobody else is playing at all, right?
With her.
Well, but just in general, like you're not seeing it's the conversation that everyone's having is like, okay, we have the majority. Okay, cool. Stick with that. Like that's why Jawan's not really doing anything, because he's like, well, I could just ride this out for a few more weeks and go from there. But
yeah, I was literally yelling at Jawan on the TV. I was like, and then what, Jawan? You get down to 6, and then what?
Well, exactly. Well, we see this every season. Players will be at the bottom of a majority because they don't want to make the effort, it looks like, to try to find a way where they put themselves in the top half or whatever, or top, group of people. And they're the first to go as soon as like that majority becomes the only thing left. So it's just very like and what also too is very surprising is, like we've like years past, like there was, those challengers that would come in, those contestants, and they're like, oh, like I built this in my backyard, and I've watched this, and I know how to do these challenges, I know how to do these puzzles, this, and this. And like you said with like Jawan, like with the tribal, it's like, how do these contestants make it this far into getting into the game and not understand how the game should be played, right? Like if they're all not like-minded, then you're just going to ride it out and to majority, and then there's going to be those.
Do you know if Jawan is a recruit or is he an actual Survivor fan?
I think he's a recruit. I don't understand why there's all these people that they're bringing in when there should be having still a lot of people applying. Like, why do you have to have
dynamics? No, to be fair, dynamics.
I don't know if he's a recruit, because Survivor isn't really known for recruits in recent years. Back in the day, sure, but like
it's felt very fans play Survivor. I think that they expanded to Canada because their pool was kind of dwindling.
Yeah, but there are often certain contestants who I don't think are necessarily the smartest, like Survivor players. They just want to be on TV. So there's that's kind of the difference, I think, is that they're there for other motives, just to be like sort of famous or whatever, have their moment there. Jawan might be more that than.
Well, like even I was thinking when we saw the preview for this season, last season, like at the end of last season and at the beginning of this season, everyone's like, oh, like, and again, like Survivor's notorious, like just like this episode for you, Dave, like, misdirecting. It's going to be this, going to show this and this. But at the beginning of the season, everyone's like, oh, I'm cutthroat, I'm not going to put up with crap, yada yada yada, and everyone's like, so, like, again, not like that, right? Like I get the from the producers in the show, like they want to, they have to take what they get and they have to make it into something entertaining in terms of like how are we going to get the people to watch week to week to week. But from the player's perspective, like it's almost like that fire or whatever dies out within the first like day or two, because for some reason they're not prepared when, this show's been on for now 49 seasons. You should be prepared. You should know what's going on. And you're not playing the game. You're not like, inducive to the elements, right? Like, again, like you go in, like you think, like they're saying, like how many, I've never seen them so many times this season be like, you think this is easy? Like, you think this, you think
it's not supposed to be easy is kind of like,
you think they were joking? Like, you think this is like, always, like, you think, like, we don't think it's fake, right? We know it. Like, obviously there's things behind, like, it's not like 100%. It's not like they're like, what is it? What's the one, Naked and Afraid in the show,
sure,
whatever it's called, right?
Like those shows, Yeah, like those other survival shows, like they like there's the one on Netflix. I think it's just called Outlast, right?
Or Alone. There's Alone and Outlast. There. I think there's maybe made by the same people. Alone is the one where they send like 8 people into the tundra and whoever can like live the longest. But then there's the other one that feels a little bit more like Survivor, where there's like the 3 groups.
Yeah, they're
And-
like not tribes, but they're there's like camps,
and they're always trying to screw each other over. I never watched the second season of Outlast, and the end of the first season of Outlast felt a lot like Survivor gets when it gets boring, where they start throwing stuff at them, or it's clear the producers are like, go fuck with the other people or something, like make it interesting. And the first season of Outlast got really bad and felt really like producer influence heavy. It felt really bad. But Alone specifically is incredible. There was one contestant that was out there for so long that he didn't, because you don't know when other people are getting eliminated, because they just leave, they just call out, they just go. And he was out there for so long that they had to be like, not only are you the final 2, we're going to tell you that, but you're not getting enough protein, we have to pull you from the game. And he's like, I'm fine. They're like you're going to die.
yeah he's like, I'm fine, it's merely a flesh wound.
I think
But those shows, along with like Naked and Afraid, like those are like where the real like survivalists go now. And like Survivor is not that. Survivor, if anything, they're looking for people who just want to be on TV, and they're like, probably I don't really like to go camping. They're like, you're perfect because you're gonna get out there and you're gonna be like, this sucks. I hate living in the mud with the bugs.
They can enter them into that new like circuit of reality TV that exists now with Big Brother, Australian Survivor, now Traitors. All of those shows are sort of working together. There was that one girl, remember the season with the big guy who like was terrible, and they eliminated him because he just couldn't do anything. And that same season there was a girl who went out there who was clearly like trying to get Instagram clout, and I was sure that she was going to show up. She just did this to get numbers on Instagram. I never heard of her again, never saw her again, but she really seemed like she went out there for clout. And I think Jeff was legitimately mad during that whole season after that. And I think that,
and she like quit in like the first day or the second day.
Yeah. And then the other guy was there for a few days longer, but he was just like the fucking worst.
Yeah. It was like a couple years ago, and basically Becky probably didn't see this one, but it was this woman was just like, I'm just here to be on TV, and they were about to vote out somebody else, and she's like, no, you have to vote out me because I'm hungry. I must have 100 burgers and a beer right now, or 100 beers and a burger. I don't care, but it must happen. And Jeff was just like, what
are you talking about?
You're on Survivor. They're not going to
vote out. Did she get voted out?
She like was self-voted out, basically.
More or less.
Quit.
Everybody was like, okay, fine, bye.
And and Jeff Probst hates that. Like he hates that.
What is there? Who's vetting these people? Like I don't understand where, like, because again, like
people lie. Foster, people lie. Like
that, and it's just regular TV. It's regular TV
job
recruiters.
Interview,
like,
you have references. You have
people.
They call your place of work. Like, what's going on here? Global, like, or not global? CBS or whatever that.
They don't. Majority of the people that go on Survivor, they don't work anymore. They go on leave or they lose their job.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe they get a leave of absence, or if they're lucky.
But that's rare, because if you're working at like a barista, they're like, "Oh, I'll be back in a month." They're like, "Yeah," and you'll see if there's a wanted sign in the door, you can come back, but otherwise, bye. These people can't.
Oh, so is that why Savannah's
I'd have to leave
reporter?
I'd have to leave my job to play Survivor. I don't think I'd be able to just go back to my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I work I work for a company. I don't have 30 days vacation though.
Right. It'd be interesting if you went into like your boss and say, "Hey, so I could be on Survivor and I'm gonna be gone for like 2 months." Cool.
Funny story. The current job that I've been working there for 13 years. When I first went to my interview, I asked for a leave of absence, just in case I got onto Big Brother Canada.
I'm gonna have to take a leave of absence on the possibility I'm gonna be on
I'm
the
like,
cast.
hey, if I get on Big Brother Canada, am I able to take a leave of absence? And they told me no. Later on, I found out that isn't true, which is hilarious. So
I've got family in the Finger Lakes, and I have to go back to the Finger Lakes to see my family once in a while. The real ones know that reference.
Yep. Yes, I do. Yep. They're gonna get worried about me. I've been gone for a while.
Yeah.
I had to sneak off and do this interview.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about the challenge that we wanted to talk about?
we're going to talk about the challenge, Foster. Get ready.
I guess the
You're
only
waiting
other
for it.
thing I wanted to, the challenge or
you talk about the
this
challenge.
episode-
for this
not the
episode.
show, the
episode.
challenge, the
Okay.
challenge of this
Well,
Sorry,
episode.
false alarm.
I-
Foster, false
I-
alarm.
MC
I-
did so well,
MC did so well.
despite being like exhausted from the individual challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about
know.
Nate?
I know that for the team challenge, I know Jaemeel would have dominated it.
And then I would have went like this.
Yeah.
Because
In
it's
my
my
veins,
Oh, 'cause
buddy.
he was done?
Yeah.
We've already
Nate
established
did-
that Becky is the basketball star.
Yeah.
here.
Sorry, she would have done it. She would have done it. She would have done
Nate
it.
I
did
thought he
snap
was his layup for the second time when he missed the basket. I thought he was actually going to get it because the way he was
Ooh.
kind of like
Riz?
Whose layup?
Riz? He's like, oh, it's good.
He
And then
did
he's
this
like, no.
he did this like he was prepping for the layout, and then he did it, and it was like
No, not Alex. Riz.
Riz yeah.
Kept on like giving commentary every shot.
very showy.
He's like, it's
Alex,
it.
Alex was pretty incredible at this, and Rizzo was very good, but Alex was better here.
He
and
kept
edged them out.
talking about like
Okay,
Riz
and
pumped himself up.
the whole part here where Sophie gets hit with the ball and Jeff blames it on Rizzo. I was like, it wasn't Rizzo's fault. Like
Yeah, she was under him.
Jason throws the ball to Rizzo, and Rizzo,
why are they throwing it up in the air? They
Here,
could just throw it through the
watch how this plays
love
out
it.
here. Just to see, like Sophie's not watching, and then it like hits her in the face,
But then Riz,
and then Jeff's like, Rizzo does not catch that ball, and Rizzo's like, oh yeah, Probst throws it right up here into and this was like, I'm watching this tonight. I'm like, Rizzo is definitely going to be one of the returning players.
I
Like,
hope
Yeah,
not.
you
I hope
think?
not.
No.
He's not as showy as I thought he was going to be.
yeah,
He's a big self-narrator. Like he just kind of he talk like again. He's like third person talker. Like he's just like like the wrist god. like I'm doing dominance. It's like
let's hear from
Again,
him,
like,
like
I
the man
love
himself.
mukbangs. I love the sound of people chewing. It ASMRs my ears. That one was. What is wrong with Gen Z? Why do they love mukbangs so much?
Okay, hold on. Okay, real mukbang done by South Koreans with like the full table setup, right?
It's
And you actually
so
see them cooking the food.
Too much.
That's interesting. That being said, you get bored of it very quickly.
Rizgod wants to see somebody eat the menu from Burger King in their car.
It's better than White Castle.
with the dip.
True, White Castle is dog shit.
Yes.
You heard it here. That's my hot take.
Yes.
Well,
My
Burger
other
King's
hot
terrible.
take is I want to see any game as long as it's new. I do see where you guys said, this one's kind of boring and whatever, but as long as it's a new thing, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. So this was a kind of a new challenge. Like you had to take your cage out of the water, you had to get it up this beach, and then you're locked inside the cage. Dig yourself out of the cage, shoot from inside the cage into these basketball nets. Like there was stuff to it. Like it looked like it was pretty grueling, but did it work as as a spectator sport, I guess is what Foster's point is. Maybe not as much as some other challenges, but you got to mix it up. We can't have the exact same. We're gonna have this obstacle course and then there's a puzzle at the end, and whoever solves this puzzle will win. It's just kind of like
I like when Nate told Rizzo to shut up.
yeah, he's like, you shut up, Rizzo.
Shut
I'm
up,
trying.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta lift it. And he's like, I went on a challenge today. What are you talking about, buddy?
I had to lift sandbags for you.
I'm waiting for the Rizzo the Rat reference to come from Nate later on.
The Riz guy, baby.
And now, the man, the myth, the legend, R-I-Z-G-O-D, Riz God, baby, has some tools in his toolbox to work with in this game.
You could just imagine the Muppet Rizzo.
He's like, he this guy is meant to play like Rizzo the Rat. I
Yes.
think, in the live action Muppets. That was yet to be made. Well, we'll anthropomorphize
He's more
him as a
suited
rat.
for Big Brother.
Rizzo, yeah, I could see him on Big Brother for sure. But he's doing something on Survivor. Okay, so now do we want? Okay, I think we need to talk about the whole chicken fiasco here too.
Chickens.
Now Jane was not too impressed with the whole thing because the blue tribe wins. They win the one rooster and the 3 egg-laying hens, and as you know, they're all hungry. They haven't been eating enough, they say, and so the chicken must be sacrificed, and it's up to Alex and Steven to do it. Jane was like, la 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 la, I don't want to hear this. I can't wait for it to be over.
They
Skip
killed the
all this
rooster,
part.
did they?
I think they killed the
They
rooster.
killed the rooster.
Or did they kill the chicken?
No, they left the hens alone because they lay eggs, and they killed the rooster.
Right. As we saw, and then all the hens are in their cage, like watching them, like take all the feathers out, and like.
Did they close their eyes and make them turn around so they didn't see
They were watching them the whole time, judging them.
ears?
And they were talking about I get DoorDash and everything else. But Foster, did you have any reaction to this? The chicken of it all?
I mean, not like I don't know. It's kind of like mixed. Like I don't know. Like again, like they made it a whole big thing, but like again, like it's the circumstances. Like it's what it is. What it is. Like they have to eat. Like I don't understand. Like why? Like yeah.
Why
Like,
didn't
the one thing I was
thinking and try to catch a bigger thing, like put it above like the water and
Use
see
it bait to like catch a shark? Or is that what you're going for?
well, I was just I'm watching this and I'm thinking like the girl's getting all emotional, getting upset and stuff, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, you see those clips of the the chicken farms where there's like thousands of chickens, you know what I mean? Like this is just how life, it's just how it is. Like it's just yeah, like it's I don't know, like I was thinking like would I be in the situation, I would do it. And they're like, yeah, I probably would. It's easier said than done, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, like when you gotta do what you gotta do, like it's like what I mean.
Well,
you gotta do
the
it.
rooster's
right?
the rooster's not gonna lay any eggs. So
Is it
No,
because
and
of cutbacks? Is that why they got real chickens instead of like food?
Oh no, they actually do that often. She's like, wait, I thought they were actually getting chicken. This is
Like
bogus.
barbecue chicken.
they did barbecue it.
I was
Yeah,
seeing
but, like,
the way
with,
they
like,
cooked them, and I was just like, wait a second, they got some spice on there? Like what's going on? The producers give them some sort of salt or something?
It did look like it had seasoning. I couldn't really, but I don't think they would have that.
Seasoning
But those
sets.
look
They
pretty
usually
burnt.
Seasoning sets.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
It was just burnt. There have been like that has been like a reward they've given out. Every season they give them this fishing gear. There's always a challenge in like the first 2 episodes about fishing gear. Fishing gear is never seen again for the rest of the season. They're always like, we're so hungry. We're eating maybe 1 crab leg a day. What are we gonna do?
Unless Joe's on your team, not Joe from last season. But
Unless
like,
somebody goes fishing and
Cooler
loses
Joe,
the
who
freaking
was like a master
fishing thing.
fisherman. He's
Like last season, they were eating like all that except the peanut butter the sandwiches was kind of blah. But like everything else, like they had good meals.
that was in the latter part of the season.
Oh.
Yeah, once they get to like the merge, like there's always people like winning rewards and they're eating like Applebee's every other day or something. But then there's always those people who don't get it.
Blooming
Like oh, fall
And
down
they have
there.
a
I wanna go.
meltdown because they haven't gone on any rewards. Remember her?
Oh yeah, was that last season where it's like I haven't been on? A...
That was
I'm
Kevin,
pissed.
wasn't it? No.
The season before that. I'm pissed.
That guy last season, we kept crying because he was so hungry.
Yeah.
Oh. He was-
It's good. It's big. It's Applebee's.
You did multiple times.
Oh
Dreaming
yeah.
on the margarita.
Where's my margarita here?
Wood fire grilled. Outback steak. Plus the brand new Outback Steakhouse Margarita, the grilled pineapple Rita.
I could almost taste it.
Brand new. Pineapple Rita.
There was a person who worked for Applebee's like 2 seasons ago.
Really?
who missed out on the Applebee's thing.
like in the old seasons, the whole thing was that they were longer seasons. They went 39 days, but they gave them rice. And now the idea is they play this 26-day season and they don't have the rice and they have to fend for themselves more, eat coconut more, and
worm farm.
Worm farms.
Yeah,
you can eat all the worms and bugs you can find if you can stomach it. And then there are sometimes actual food rewards, but less so in these early like I don't think we had a food reward in these 5 episodes so far, right? They've all been
Well,
like
they
the
gave
fruit or whatever.
Fruit.
oh yeah, there was the fruit one, and then there was like the woman who got really mad. She's like, fruit's what I eat when I'm dieting. This is BS.
Sophie with an E.
Sophie with an E, who we've barely seen this season, by the way.
She's Purple
She's
Kelly.
Still there? Yeah, she's still there.
Purple Kelly.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Sophies to be united. Okay, so yeah, we got the chicken thing. We got, and then we have all the lead up to the Jason vote out, which, like as I talked about already, like Savannah. It seems like Savannah's going to maybe try to work to get Jawan out here, but there's never really any serious conversations. Like there's basically Nate and her talking about it. We see Jason talking to Jawan. There's always this thing. We don't want him to use his shot in the dark. We got to make him feel comfortable. We got to play this ruse. Like part of me thinks get rid of the shot in the dark for this reason, because I think I liked it before the other way around better before, but anyway, so they go into tribal, giving us this idea that, well, maybe Jawan's the more smart one to vote out, because a double down on voting out another original Hina, is only going to send more of a signal. But they'll be one down. Who cares? And I think that's the conclusion they come to. Yeah, if we vote out Matt and Jason back to back, then the other surviving Hinas have their back against the wall. But they're a minority at that point. You'll have 6, they'll have 4. And 5 if you count Alex, I guess. But that it's
6 if you count Shannon, Sage.
Well, yeah, I guess if they get Sage over, and then you could have maybe a split vote, but then you get into drawing rocks, and maybe
Sophie has to break the hourglass to change the course of destiny.
Right.
See how I led that up? That's just practice. Right?
Yes. Well,
I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
See, I just lead up these voice clips
and the world was never the same again. So, okay. Yeah, so the tribal council of it all, really a lot about Jawan. There was that nice moment there with Rizzo, where Rizzo, was talking about trying to help Jawan out with what Jawan was barely able to say. I suck at everything. Hey, can I be kind of random with you, Jeff? He's like, always. And Jeff's always hoping he's going to get a really great moment. And then Jawan just I don't even know what's happening. And I can barely talk. And Jeff's like, okay, moving on. Let's talk to somebody else. But then I think Rizzo helping him out there. You got Sophie with the eye, who's looking half dead. That was the other thing they talked about a lot leading up to the tribal, and we saw even there at tribal that they call on her a couple times. Jeff will always call on you, and he's like, I don't care if you have 0 calories or your blood sugar's down to 0. I want answers. Don't give me a Johnny Fairplay answer where you're like, I don't know, Jeff. What the hell do you want me to do? Can we vote already? Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess Sophie being a fairly thin, small woman to start, not eating just coconuts, no fire, the whole time she's been out there. She's 10 days without probably much food, and she's withering away. But they're but we'll still keep her over Jason, even with the prospect of going back to another challenge, having to compete again. Was this what if you were the Uli members? Do you still make this move to vote out Jason at this stage? Is this still the correct move? I'll ask Jason about his namesake here.
Well, I think that the thing with Survivor is people are always going to team up on people left by themselves like this. So I think it was a foregone conclusion where this guy's only been good at puzzles and pretty much nothing else. He's a nice guy, but he wasn't really strategizing at all. He was trying a little bit, but I didn't really see him as a strategist. And I think that even though the edit made it look like he was giving it his all, I think at the end of the day, when there's the merge or the drop your buffs situation, and there's one straggler from another tribe, especially in the midst of this alleged war that's going on.
Or the war, because Sophie's also by herself, but she's not a target for them.
They're like, shots fired, buddy, you're out. I think he had all of the odds stacked against him, and I don't think he was able to get out of it. I think that's why he was always going to be that one voted out if they went to tribal.
Yeah, well, just let's have a quick listen to Jason's exit here before we get the final thoughts on him.
Oh man, I thought that things were gonna go my way tonight, but Uli stayed Uli strong, and I'm a casualty of that. But I would do it all over again. I was the alternate this season, so every single moment I was out here, I was soaking it in. I felt like I was living on borrowed time, but when it's your time, and what a journey it's been for me.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Also, he was an alternate too, so I don't think that really matters. But
it doesn't. And
way too much.
Like he was one of the worst exit interviews I think I've heard a lot. Like I have no regrets. I would do it all again. Why wouldn't you do it again? You're playing Survivor. Like, what's it like? Okay, like, it's the game's the game. Is I think is the it's the correct attitude in that sense. But I don't know. I guess he couldn't feel betrayed by anyone. It's not like anybody there was really in an alliance with him. So, Foster, how do you feel about your your member of Team Foster going out here like this, and how you feel going forward with the rest of it? Where's Team Foster here?
Well, there's a lot of focus on my two players tonight, Jason and Shannon. I will, as my pick, I will pronounce her name. Jason was very underwhelming, and I think it felt lost. I think, right, just did not understand kind of what he needed to do. So I mean, usually I'm kind of I'm like, my pick and this and but
you're like, I'm gonna cut my losses here. This guy was
emotionally just move on. Just
sometimes you have a bad pick. Sometimes it's how it is. You think you see potential, but they don't rise to the challenge.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Any other final thoughts on Jason here as we kind of close the book? Probably on
you will not be back for 50.
Okay, well, yeah. So, and before, can we get everyone's predictions now? Jason, we didn't catch up with you last week, but who would have been your predictions last week for based on that episode?
I would have kept Jake and Savannah locked in.
Okay.
And for now, I'm going to continue to keep Jake and Savannah locked in, but I'm looking at Sophie if she goes home soon.
Okay. Okay. Bet or
you got to pick one woman, one man, or you have to pick two people, not three.
I have picked two men in certain weeks, but knowing that they wouldn't do it, but just giving me a better chance of being correct and getting one of them right. Whereas I'm less sure about who the woman would be. So I still feel like Rizzo is probably the greatest potential. And I think Savannah is looking again more and more like a likely option. I was on MC last week, and I think MC is a potential if she wins. I could see them taking MC from the winner of the season to put her into next season. But if she's not the winner, I'm less confident in that thing. So I'm going back to Savannah. I think Savannah more of a character. Foster, are you still locked in on Jake?
Yep, lock and loaded. I'm gonna stick with MC this week. Wasn't as I don't know, because I feel like when I'm picking MC and Jake, they're kind of the same kind of honest, tough, not dramatic player, right? So, but I'll stick with it for now. I'm not really sure I'm warming up to anybody else, but I mean, I think you're right on the nose, Jason, about Savannah, because just in terms of her watchability and what she brings. As a player, not the person, because as a person, she's kind of Kenzie, really. But I'm going to stick with Jake and MC.
All right, and Becky, what would you say?
to come back. I think because I think MC might go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're less likely to bring her back for 50. Jake for sure. I think he'll come back.
Okay.
And maybe Sage.
Sage. Okay. So Sage, I think that you're the first person to say Sage all season so far.
I was looking at Sage this episode specifically as well. Max, she's got. I would watch her play. I would watch her play another season. I think she's fucking great.
she's very funny. I'm with you there, and she's kind of interesting.
To her, so
Jaemeel, would you please submit your choices?
I'm locking it in. Alex and Sage.
Oh, you're
Alex and
okay.
Sage.
I like Alex.
I don't think anyone said Alex this season either so far. So this is, but I could see Alex.
I have a conspiracy theory. Tinfoil hats on, everybody. I think he's gonna go home so he could see the birth of his child. And the producer said to him, "Hey, do you want to play next season?" When they popped it on the screen, I thought he died. I was like, "What? Oh, okay."
He
and the easiest thing to do is like, they saw him, great guy, great character. He's stealing shoes. Let's get him back for next season so I can steal Ozzy's shoes and watch Ozzy melt.
We did not get what we needed out of that shoe theft angle, that whole plot line. Yeah.
51. He's going to be back 51.
Well, we could see, I saw his exit interview with Rob, and he was like, if they call me, I'm gone. And so I could see him being back for 51 too. That could be a potential. He might not be back for 50 specifically. Now,
actually, that's a good point.
Can we look ahead to the next episode? It's called The Devil's Shoes. And
another Jake reference. Jake he's come back to the island.
The Devil's Shoe Thief. Here we go. Let's have a look here.
New tribe. We got a new game.
Next time on Survivor.
Jailbreak. Oh, okay, sweeties. Oh, Shannon, sisters. Mwah.
I want to instill fear in these people's hearts.
I'll be okay.
It's one new tribe is one tribe,
The new.
Do you think it's a merged tribe?
It's the merge challenge. They're not merged yet. It's the merge challenge.
Because what do we do? We're down.
Somebody doesn't make it into the merge, and then also somebody gets voted out. So another 2 people episodes.
They split up the teams.
Yeah.
Right. Or they have the two tribes. The tribe that wins, right, goes onto the merge, right, and the tribe that doesn't
goes to tribal,
right?
That's we're down to 12 here now, so yeah, it could be like once we get.
But it's what? It's not 6 and 6. It's 8 and 6, right?
It's 8 and 6 in the tribes, yeah. So that's what
so
they
two people sit out, right? And then it's 6 and 6.
Not 8 and 6. It would be if it's 12, right?
6 and 6 is 12.
So it's that's to be more than 12, isn't it?
Let me see.
It out, right? So
we got one. So yeah, Hina has right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Kelly has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not even right now, right?
So two people sit out. They do 5 and 5, right? They flip a coin. One person goes to the winning tribe and is merged, and the other person goes to tribal council.
You could do 6 and 6, yeah, but that's probably. Will they do that next episode? I guess we could just look at what they did last season. When did they go to the merge? Because that will probably follow the same structure. It was after 6. After 6 were voted out, which is where we're at right now. So that they started the process of the merge basically, and then. Yeah,
that's how I see it. We'll see how accurate I am next week.
Although we're like it's only day 10 here when Jason gets voted out, so it is a couple days early compared to past seasons as well. So they might need to like stall a little bit before they're ready to move to that next stage of the.
Well, next week won't be the merge. Technically, the actual merge will be the episode after, which would be day 12.
Yeah. So you think we'll still have two tribes, or at least two teams in the process of merging?
Next week would be two teams, one tribal, right? And then the next episode will be a merged team. So
Or there'll be like two tribals of 6 potentially.
What's the
no,
downtime
only one. It's one day.
between tribal council and the first individual? Like they're like what do you call them? Where they go off and like could find individual immunity and all that.
Don't they do it all the same day?
advantage?
It depends. They kind of because they didn't have. They had it early in the day for this one, right? It was early in the day.
Well, I think what's throwing this season off is that Jake gets medically evacuated here, and they still voted out Jeremiah that day, right? So I feel like they're still ahead of schedule in terms of what they need to do.
I don't think they're going to do two tribals. They're just going to do one. One team wins and goes on, and the other team has to vote someone out.
Right, and then the other group can watch, but they don't vote or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah, that's probably. And then now you're part of the beginning of the merge following that vote out. Yeah. I see what you're saying now. Yeah. Took me a while to get there, but I think you're right. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, thanks. I think that's that for this episode. The Devil's Shoes will be back next week to talk all about that as we head into the next phase of the game. What else is going on in our other networks of channels? What's going on True Currency?
Episode the next episode is still in the works. I am working on editing it. It's golden. It's great. It's gonna be golden.
That sounds golden.
Yes. So I can't wait for people to hear it.
Now, Foster, I heard the Amish Samurai is starting up as a new podcast as well. Is this the rumors corroborated?
You know what? We're still trying to figure out what a computer is. We don't know how to turn it on.
But you have a sword.
We don't know how. Like we're working with paintings right now, so it's going to be a slow process.
Okay, well, let me know how that works out. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, Jason and Steven over there on Hey, Did You See This One? Are having their 5th anniversary following their 200th episode. Not that long ago, so big milestones.
Yeah, our 200th episode and our 5th year anniversary fell in the same month. October 23rd, tomorrow, is the day we started back in 2020. And we're having our big 5th anniversary blowout, but we kind of already spent it on 200, so there'll be some fun little things. But we are covering Friday the 13th part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan tomorrow night.
Okay.
Movie ever, but
the Blue Jays already did that already. So, but now we're seeing Jason take another stab at it.
Yeah, and my name is Jason, so I'll also literally take a stab at it. It's synergy.
It's a week of Jason's. Jason's voted out as Survivor. We got Jason on Friday the 13th in Manhattan.
The Blue Jasons making it to the World Series. The
Blue Jasons.
Love what I do. That's what they're called. That's what it's short for, right?
That's true. I hadn't thought of that. Go Jays go, of course. We hadn't even mentioned any of that, but they are in the show. Foster, are you feeling good against the Dodgers?
Yes, I hope so. I'm a nervous sports fan, that's for sure. My boss asked me the other day. She said, "Oh, did you watch the game 7 on was it Monday or Sunday? Sorry, no, Monday. I don't even know these. I don't know what the days are these days." And it was Monday, and I said no. I didn't watch it because I was trying to watch the Blue Jays at the end of the season and beginning of the playoffs, and every time I was watching, they were losing. So I've taken the sacrifice for the country, and I'm not watching the Blue Jays, but will be following on the Score app because I believe in this team, and I can't have nice things.
Now, theoretically, like the whole World Series could be said and done by the time we're back here next week. It could still be. It could. There is a game.
You're supposed to say that. I don't think you're supposed to put that energy into the universe.
I either way, it could go either way. Who knows? But it's. But I'm just saying theoretically. I'm not.
We are totally on two different ways. I'm trying to respect and like, you know, like, you know, and Dave's just like, woo, it's gonna, you know, it's like, Dave, come on. Like, I'm trying to like bring it down realistic, you know, like not, you know, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious.
I'm just saying that by that point, like by next Wednesday, 4 to 5 games will have been played by then, and who knows where we'll be sitting. So, anyway, well, that's true. Like we all know there will be games played. Who will win them is up in the air. But
now I can't even follow. Now because of your statements, Dave, I can't even follow it on the score app. I can't even like for the sake of the
You have to go into a Faraday cage. In fact, so no.
I have to do a darkness retreat as Aaron Rodgers did. If anyone knows what that is,
Dave's gonna the Dodgers are gonna use Dave's statements as fuel. Bulletin board. Thank you. He's like he expects this series to be over in 4 to 5 games. Let's prove him.
You know, it is cheaper to go to LA
to go watch
the game.
Really?
Oh my gosh! We tried to get tickets, and it was insane.
Yeah, I heard Jerry was trying to get tickets, and a few others. But well, we'll see how that. I know there will be games by then, so that's exciting. So I'm not doing anything. I haven't done anything. So we're gonna get out of here. I of course you know what side I'm on for it. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here before I make it any worse. Thanks for being with us here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. We'll be back in 1 week's time, and until then, be the wolf, baby.
But the reality is, I'm a wolf, baby. I'm ready to eat her.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mario Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.